Okay, so I just got done logging some 2016, 2017, and 2018 recruits. I'm doing this from home today because the coaches are out of town today. So I took my big stack of recruits home and did that on my own computer. It took me about 3 days to get all these recruits in because there were about 60 new kids that needed to be put in. So the most important thing about putting these recruits in, other than their name and where they're from and what team they play for, is their graduating year, because NCAA rules make us comply with their graduating year, and that's a big factor in how much communication a university can have with a player. So just making sure that their graduating year is correct in the system is a big deal. And a lot of the information that I used to put in was given off of a questionnaire like this. So every university has a questionnaire that can be downloaded and filled out on their website. Auburn's looks like this. It has personal information, academic information, volleyball information, and family information. And that's just some info to help us get to know these kids a little better, and to not only see how they are athletically, but to see what their academic goals are and if they're good for Auburn as a university as well as an athlete. So I've put all this information in for these kids, and the program that we use for their information is called Jump Forward. And Jump Forward is used by most Division One schools. I would say most NCAA schools, but it's just a big database where coaches can kind of keep track of what they think about certain kids. So this is what Auburn's looks like. So on the website, you can search by last name. And I'll just click on one of the players. So across the top here, you can see all this information, and you can click on a bio, and that gives their graduating year, all their contact information, how tall they are, what position they're getting recruited for, their club. This is everything about their team, including their contact information for their club coach, and if they are too young to be contacted directly, we have to use their club coach as their contact. So having their coach's information is very important. School, basically where they go to high school and what grade they're in. Academic, when they take the ACT, you can put all that information in here, as well as their GPA. Scouting, this is typically when coaches watch this kid play, it's just their most recent thoughts on the kid. And then finally, there's tags, and tags is what's used to categorize these kids and rank them in the program. And so, as you can see, this kid is ranked as a heart, and it depends on the university, but a heart is typically, for Auburn, hearts mean that they're scholarship material. So the ranking system works like a deck of cards, and heart for Auburn is scholarship material. A heart diamond is they're a good player, but there might be some other players that could be a little bit better. A diamond is they're okay, but not really sure what kind of role they might fill on the team. And then clubs and spades are typically kids that have contacted the university, so they kind of go in a contacted us category. And then when the coaches go to tournaments to see these kids play, they make sure that they stop by that kid's court, and from that point, the kid typically gets moved up to either a diamond, or they just get kind of tossed out as, they either wouldn't fit in with the team because of the position they are and the class that they're coming in with, or they're just not very good. So when these coaches are at tournaments, the way that they keep up with all the information that I've just put in, they use the Jump Forward app. So here is the app. And as you can see, you can scroll through, you can look at prospects. And all these different kids will come up. And so you can click filter. You can do it by rating, positions, communication status, graduation year, tag, event. So if I wanted to look at all the heart kids, which is our favorite kids, I would hit apply, and then it would narrow my list down to all my heart kids. I can also look by clubs. If there's a really good club that I'm interested in learning more about their players, I can look through the clubs, and let's see, like A5 is a club in Atlanta, so I can get the head coach's info, and I can talk to that coach about different players. And once I get a player that I really like, I can go back to prospects and I can hit add, and then I can add a brand new prospect. So this information, while it did take a while to get all the little details in about all these kids, the tough part about coaching in college is that recruits never stop coming in, and once they're in, you have to figure out where they rank on your team. So while Auburn has probably 30 heart kids, 30 scholarship material kids right now, they obviously can't give 30 scholarships, especially in one class. So there's a lot of narrowing down that has to happen, and there's always the risk of a kid just is not interested in Auburn, so they may commit to another school, or there's always the situation of a foreign kid not getting all of their information to come to the U.S. in time, or players that don't have a good enough ACT score to get into the university. So while there's a huge number of scholarship material kids, by the time it's time for those kids to actually commit or sign a letter of intent, the head coaches will probably get these kids narrowed down to less than 6 kids for their graduating class. So there's a lot of watching that has to take place. There's a lot of evaluating and decision making. So one of the most important things to do is to just make sure the information on these kids stay as updated as possible. So throughout my internship, this will be one of my main jobs, is just making sure that this information stays up to date and we stay in contact with these kids, so we don't lose any good players.